to organize your time in non-industrial ways, then it takes a lot of skills that you have to develop. So the next phase would be personalized learning, where it becomes student-centered. So it's not necessarily that the student has agency, but it's being based on their interests. We're trying to figure out how do we make it work for them. It's still externally managed, but with the learner in mind. And then the next phase would be co-creation, where working with a learning guide, you begin to create your own kind of learning experiences. It's based on self-reflection, self-awareness, and self-regulation. And there's a shared responsibility. And then the last phase is where the learner really controls the how, the why, the what, and the when of their learning. They drive it forward. They have agency and a strong sense of responsibility, and an attitude of an empowered lifelong learner. So no small task. Like I was saying, we looked at the world. I can skip this actually. This is learning methodologies. We'd identified 25 different methodologies. So typically you see maybe one or two in a school. Sometimes you see more and more schools are tinkering around the edges with project-based learning or passion-based learning in small scales, which is good to see that at least some of those are becoming more mainstream. And then in answer to my question before of what do learners need to thrive throughout their lifetimes, we asked our parents, some of our thought leaders, our learners, our learning guides, that same question, and they came up with these 5 learner attributes that they should be lifelong learners. They're going to excel throughout their lifetimes or thrive and be happy, not just survive. Creative, effective communicators. They should understand the world systematically. And so we look specifically at human, natural, and numeric systems, which in the traditional world would be social sciences, science, and math, but we make those transdisciplinary and pose big questions that are real world questions, not ones that are simple and just exist within school contexts. They should be resilient, agile, and thriving. This is more looking at their well-being. And then they should also be collaborative change makers. So they work together to make a difference and have an impact. And what we do is we offer this in a variety of formats. So some of our learners come in person, some of them are online, and some of them do a mix of both of those things so that we allow for more flexibility. Because one of the things we're trying to challenge is the idea that all learning has to be linked to just one physical space and the resources of this space, when there's a whole world out there of people who want to share in learning and share resources and participate together. Here's a fun thing I'll scroll through so you can kind of see the design. So our model, at least in the secondary space, is a studio-based model where you can take any space and all of a sudden turn it into a variety of different configurations and allow the learners to tinker, to learn some of a Montessori concept, the prepared environment where you can show up and there's all these different tools and things that you can play with. So we have a multimedia studio, a music studio, a digital fabrication lab, science, robotics, et cetera, where the learners can go in and they can tinker and they can wake and they work on real world projects. And what's really cool is we also have studio experts. So they're people who are professionals in their field who just come in for a few hours a week to run those to inspire the learners, to mentor them, and to run cool projects in that. So I think I already said this, but things like having creative hackathons, they can do all kinds of, we had a market recently, which was really cool, where all the makers came together and got to sell all of their wares. One of the learners actually made his own digital cryptocurrency that allowed the learners to exchange via a platform he created. And then I guess another thing that we're trying to do to disrupt is to get all you cool people who are here in the audience today together as one group to start chatting with each other more, to having these kind of conversations like the post-institutional cafe is trying to do. So if you want, you can join our alliance online, and we have events and things that are meant to bring the movers and shakers together. That's my timer just went off, so that's the end of my talk time. So like I said, we have 2 hubs. We have one that's right now in Barcelona in the middle of the city. We also have for a primary school, which is right on the beach, that's focused on nature-based learning and play-based learning. But we also support a variety of schools around the world. And I think I'll stop there for now with the talking so that I can take questions from the audience if there are any. Or if not, it might just be that you guys will need to ask me some questions. But do we have any questions from Camila, or I guess Sandra is just joining? Or hey, it looks like you're talking, but your mic is muted.
Oh, sorry. I don't know if anybody else has a question, Camila or Sandra or Daniel. Um, Actually, my question comes to the the mechanisms, you know, like for for young people or whoever your audience is, because it looks like it is young people, which is a mechanism to help them find their own voice, which is the way in which they have a process which is, you know, like cognitive but also emotional about finding, you know, their own path and their own voice, which is what normal or traditional institutions just set a path and everybody follows however they can. So how do you guys deal with this?
Um, I think just a strong belief that learners should have agency. They should have voice and choice over what they do. That we're trying to get them to become more self-determined sets the tone for how learning guides interact with the kids and how we design programs. So it's expected that within every learning experience that the learners have a space to decide how they want to express themselves. We don't have exams, we don't have grades. Um, we have the opportunity for learners to pick projects that mean something to them and hopefully have an authentic audience that it means something else to outside of Learnlife. Um, and so, for instance, instead of teaching traditional literacy, we have what we call a building block called Express Yourself. And it's on a 4-week cycle, and every 4 weeks they do a new format of self-expression. So that might be freestyle rapping or giving a TED talk or putting on a play or doing something like this, and learners choose. And the idea is to expose them to as many formats of self-expression as possible. And when they find the one that they really love, that's when they can start going deeper, right? They can start doing other projects like, ooh, I really like doing that play. That was fun. Why don't I write my own play now? And then they can dive deep into that. And so the idea is to ignite a passion, and once ignited, then to accelerate that to get it moving.
Okay, wonderful. And how is your relationship or Learn Life relationship with the parents? Because in the morning we were discussing that, of course, education is a matter of young people and, well, all of us finding a path, getting to growth. But how can, you know, regular parents who want the best for their children, who want them to have, you know, a successful and happy life, how do they make this decision of not going into the apparently safe, you know, secure traditional educational models, or going to Learn Life? How is this decision made? Is it a specific group of people that, a specific group of parents that take their family to Learn Life, or is it what is it, right?
Yeah, I think I would put the parents into maybe two different buckets. Bucket number one is the bucket where I'm in so much pain with the current system that I will take anything else and worthy anything else. But then there's a group of parents that they understand what we're doing. They're typically your innovators and your early adopters. And they understand the model, they understand what we're trying to do. And so out of a deep belief in what we're doing, they bring their kids here. In the beginning, it was more tipped like this, I guess, with the people who just had high pain points coming. But now that we're more well-known, more established, we have more of the people who really believe in what we do. But admittedly, one of our biggest challenges is communicating what we do and how we do it, because most people have not gone through it, so they don't understand it. So we take a lot of effort to bring the parents in, to offer them a chance to come and spend days here. We do workshops for parents. We do lots of parent meetings. We invite them in as much as possible so they can really see it and experience it for themselves, because it's difficult as a parent to to want to trust in this new thing, but without having lived it yourself.
And why did you guys pick Barcelona? I mean, Barcelona has a lot of special features, right? It's an interesting place, it's a creative place, but how do you let's say determine that it needs to be Barcelona or Miami or LA or Amsterdam? How do you guys determine that?
Um, Well, admittedly, it was mostly just most of the founding team was based here when we founded it, so it made sense. But in addition to that, there's already quite a bit of innovative things happening in Barcelona, specifically in education, where they're starting to do more innovative things in the Catalan schools. There's a number of examples. One of the schools that's been rated #1 in Spain for innovation for a long time, Col·legi Montserrat, is based here. There's a number of places that we drew inspiration from, and so it seemed like a good place to start. And it's Barcelona. I mean, it's amazing here. What's not to like?
That's true. But I understand most of the team is from abroad, right? Most are expats.
Yeah, I think we have 20% Catalan team members. And the rest are expats.
Okay, that's great. Well, I don't know if you no? Okay, thank you so much, Devin. I don't know if you have any final remarks or any key elements that you think the education or the learning of the future.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that is understated too much is positive relationships are important between the learners, between the learning guides and the learners, between the parents and the team. And that's one of the kind of fundamental principles of what we do. Thankfully, neuroscience is showing that positive relationships also impact deep learning and the capacity to learn well. But it's something that the families remark the most. And when we have visitors come in, they notice immediately. It feels different to be in our space, to see how the interactions have a different texture and feel to them. They feel more equitable, they feel more positive and whole. It's actually funny because a lot of the kids, they come in here and they're waiting for the smack to come. And so they kind of come in, they look with suspicion, they're like, you're being nice to me, but I don't trust it. And then a week goes by, and then a month goes by, and then eventually they get that we're actually not here to punish them. And seen in everything from the fact that we do intake with our learners. So when they first come, they are interviewed, so we understand who they are and why, what value they want to bring to the community and what their needs are, which we've had parents cry during that process because they've never felt like their child was so deeply seen to have anybody care. I mean, the normal admissions process is you're a piece of paper and then you pay, or you just get registered and you go. Everything through to the 360s I talked about today, where it's really a celebration of their learners' learning and growth. It's not trying to measure them by some external standard, but it's another thing where we have to put tissues on the table because the parents are so proud of their kids, and they get to see the learner taking agency, and it's framed as celebration and not as let's fit you into a number. So I can't emphasize how much that has, I think, been life-changing for a lot of the kids, because I mean, you see this in therapy as well, with the therapists that are most effective are not the ones who give the best advice. It's the ones who have the best relationship with their clients, right? And that's not to say that we're trying to be therapists, but there's something to that. It's figuring out how do you allow people to really be fully themselves without feeling like they're being judged or pushed in a certain direction, but they can be who they are.
Well, that was very interesting. We hope that more Learnlives can start opening, around the world, and we're here to communicate it, and we're here to connect with other experiences about having a post-institutional approach to learning and being able to create new models. Thank you so much, Devin, for being with us. And thanks for taking the time to show us how it works.
Thanks so much. It's my pleasure.